Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a horror film, Jeepers Creepers, Part 1. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins where a young woman, Trish, and her brother, Derry, are having a long drive back home during their spring break. That time they are passing through a long highway, with almost no people and other vehicles. Derry believes that she chooses to have a long drive home, since she wants to avoid talking about her boyfriend when they arrive at home. This implies that Trish is not on good terms with her boyfriend at that time. Meanwhile, to cope with boredom in the long drive, the two play a game, where they guess the message of the plate of the vehicle they will encounter. In front of them, an RV is slowly driving. Derry then guesses that the RV's plate means gay forever. But Trish points out he is wrong, since it means sexy forever, allowing her to have one more point in their game. The RV changes its path, leaving them alone on the highway. In a few moments, a high-speed rusty truck loudly honks at them repeatedly, making them panic. They then let the rusty truck pass through their car, because it seems to be in a hurry. After that, the two talk about the famous case of a young couple, who died on that highway during a prom night many years ago. The police only found the car of the young couple, but they never found the couple's bodies. Derry speculates that the young couple's story serves as a warning against teenagers who are drunk driving during prom night. Trish says that the story is real, and it makes her think she would die on the same highway. Derry then teases her, saying her negative thoughts are caused by her boyfriend. Derry says her boyfriend must be beating her. The statement makes him remember that the rusty truck's plate means beating you. They take a break and pee in the middle of the grassy field. As they come back in the car, Trish discovers her brother is taking his laundry back home to let their mother wash. He then explains that it would let their mother feel nice, as washing his laundry is her way of caring for him. They continue their drive, and pass through a small chapel with a big pipe on its side. They then notice the rusty truck and its driver, who is throwing wrapped objects, that seem to be bloody bodies down the big pipe. The scene makes them completely scared. Trish says they should leave the area quickly. She then gets the phone, but it has a low battery. In a few moments a rusty truck accelerates and slowly approaches them, making them panic again. Derry tries to speed up their car, but the speedy rusty truck still catches up with them. It then hits their car, making their car accelerate in a zigzag direction. It continues to hit their car repeatedly, until their car swerves, and stops in the middle of the grassy field. Derry fixes the rear part of their car, and thinks about going back to the chapel. He is concerned that the body thrown in the pipe might be alive and needs help. Trish then suggests finding a payphone, but Derry thinks it might be too far. He then thinks it is a better idea to check it instead, and call a cop if they confirm their suspicion that there are bodies in the pipe. Derry finally convinces Trish, and they both drive back to the chapel. They soon arrive back at the chapel, which has a lot of crows around. They take a peek at the pipe, but cannot see the opposite end of it, since it is too dark and too long. The brother then goes inside the tunnel, pointing the flashlight inside to enable its light to reach the opposite end. Trish thinks he acts like a stupid person in horror movies, but he continues anyway. Unfortunately, he accidentally slides down the pipe and falls to a basement-like area. There, he confirms that the wrapped object is a body of a man. To his surprise, the man is still alive, as the man grabs his legs, scaring the smelly shit out of him. He then reveals the man's face, which appears to be pale. The man, who cannot utter a word, points out to his stomach, and Derry removes its cover, revealing that the man's stomach is cut open and sewn back together. The man attempts to whisper something at Derry, but he soon dies. Derry immediately instructs Trish to look for help on the highway, while he proceeds to explore the basement. There, he finds objects full of spider webs. When a liquid drops on his shoe, he takes a peek at the ceiling, allowing him to discover the preserved corpses attached to the ceiling and the walls. He is completely shocked upon seeing the scene, but he still continues to explore. He then finds the body of the exact couple, who went missing years ago. To his shock, the couple's bodies are sewn together, and a ring allows Derry to confirm that they are really the couple from the famous story. Meanwhile, Trish is waiting for a passerby on the highway, when she sees a rusty truck. She then turns on the car in a panic. But it turns out that she is only mistaken, since it is not the creepy rusty truck. Derry, who somehow manages to walk out of the basement, suddenly appears in front of her, almost shocking her to death. The two immediately drive away from the creepy chapel. Trish keeps asking Derry about the basement, but he is unable to speak, due to the trauma he got from witnessing the horrors in the basement. He then soon utters a few words, stating that the woman's head is sewn back together. Their car is almost out of gas, but luckily, they soon find a diner, where they can refill their gas tank. As they walk out of their car, they see the creepy rusty truck driving back to the chapel. The two then immediately walk into the diner in panic and ask the waitress to call the police for help. The telephone beside them rings, and Trish answers it. Weirdly enough, a woman who appears to know them says that she sees them with the cars. Derry grabs the phone, and the woman miraculously describes his appearance. The woman claims that the basement found by Derry is the so-called House of Pain, where bodies are stored by a demon. The woman adds that the creature will continue to look for them, since it already knows their scent. So, the woman warns them that they should run if they hear the Jeepers Creepers song. Soon after, the cops arrive in the diner and listen to Derry's statement. The cop thinks that his story is highly implausible. Also, the cop says that the bodies of the young couple must be decomposed into bones by now, since they died years ago. Derry insists he touched the bodies, and it looks like they are well preserved. In the middle of the commotion, the waitress informs them there is someone sniffing Derry's laundry, and it seems to enjoy it. Derry picks up his laundry and finds his name written in his underwear, implying the killer must already know his name. They then find a handprint on the car, and the police send it to the headquarters to test it. The two continue driving back home, and now the cops escort them to ensure their safety. Derry wonders how the killer arrives at the diner so fast. Trish speculates that the killer must be superhuman. Meanwhile, the cops receive a report from the police that the chapel is burning to ashes. They also receive the report of the handprint test, saying the handprint comes from dead skins. In the siblings' car, Trish opens up the radio and plays the Jeepers Creepers song, and Derry gets frightened upon hearing it. The killer creature, who turns out to be named the Creeper, now lands on the cop's car roof. The lady cop checks it, but instantly gets dragged out by the Creeper. After that, the Creeper drags the cop man and cuts his head using the big axe. His head flies to the siblings' car, forcing them to stop the car. The two walk out of the car. Trish slowly approaches the cop's car to check it. She then finds the cop's head in the road. So the two immediately head back to their car. There, they see the Creeper walk out of the cop's car and grab the cop's head. The Creeper slowly sniffs the head and proceeds to eat its tongue like a steak, while the two watch in terror. The two then turn on the car and immediately drive away. The two soon find an isolated house beside the highway. They then take a stop in front of it, hoping to find a phone there. The owner of the house turns out to be a grandma who owns a lot of cats. They ask for a phone, but due to her old age, the grandma is having difficulty understanding them. The grandma soon lets them call on the telephone. However, the electricity turns off, and the Creeper arrives in the yard. The grandma gets her gun and tells the Creeper to go away. The Creeper stays, and the grandma shoots at it. But it instantly flies inside the grandma's house, terrorizing her helpless cats. The grandma then decides to follow the Creeper inside. Derry tries to stop her, but she kicks him right in the balls. She then bravely goes inside the house to defend her beloved cats. Unfortunately, the Creeper is too strong, and she ends up getting choked by it. The two just helplessly watch Grandma's demise in the hands of the Creeper. After that, the Creeper slowly approaches them, making them run to their car. The two then drive away, but the Creeper instantly appears in front of them. They then try to hit it, but it keeps flying to evade their car. Luckily, they are able to hit it forcibly, causing it to be injured. Trish then drives through the Creeper's body repeatedly to ensure that it is really dead. After that, the Creeper attempts to fly away using its injured wings, but to no avail. The two then crush it again and proceed to drive away. The two soon find a police headquarters, where they report the creepy incidents. There, Trish finally calls their mother and ensures her about their safety. Derry finds in the headquarters wall that there are a lot of missing people in the area. Possibly, they belong to the list of the Creeper's victims. Suddenly, an old psychic woman, called Psychic Grandma, arrives at the headquarters and approaches them. Apparently, she knows that Derry found the bodies in the basement earlier through her dreams. She also has visions of the two encountering the cats, which greatly shocks them. Derry then realizes that she was the caller from the diner earlier. Psychic Grandma proceeds to inform him about the Creeper. It turns out that every 23rd of spring, the Creeper comes out to eat human body parts for 23 days. The human organs then get transferred to the Creeper's body after it eats them. The Creeper eats lungs, so it can breathe, and it eats eyes, so it can see. Psychic Grandma says even they hurt the Creeper earlier, it would be strong again after it continues to eat organs. She then warns them that it will continue to hunt them since it can smell their fear. Meanwhile, the Creeper arrives in the police headquarters, and the electricity turns off, causing a blackout inside. The cop then performs a head count on the prisoners of the headquarters. To his surprise, he finds the jail metal broken, and the Creeper is devouring the prisoner inside. The police repeatedly shoots at the Creeper, but it appears to be immune from the bullet. The situation gets reported, and all of the cops quickly gather together to respond to the situation. The cops then point their guns in front of the dark jail hallways. Suddenly, the creeper appears out of nowhere. It instantly attacks one of the cops, causing a hole in the cop's body. Just then, the creeper is gone, and the other cops are in shock after witnessing the scene. But the cops continue to hunt the creeper. In the meantime, Trish, Derry, and Psychic Grandma are trying to find a way out. Psychic Grandma suggests the only way out is the front door, but it is impossible to go there now. Suddenly, Derry realizes that Psychic Grandma knows who the creeper wants. She then reveals that Trish and Derry will run upstairs, and the creeper will hunt Trish. As they talk about it, the creeper arrives in the scene, making Trish and Derry run upstairs, leaving Psychic Grandma in the hallways. The creeper then sniffs Psychic Grandma in an attempt to identify her body smell. Possibly, the creeper loses its visual capacity after getting injured earlier. After sniffing the smelly Psychic Grandma, the creeper ignores her and proceeds to come upstairs to hunt Trish. There, Trish is looking at the mirror, while the creeper is on the other side of it, sniffing her hormones. The creeper breaks the mirror and instantly grabs Trish and Derry before they can run away. The creeper then sniffs the two repeatedly. After that, it appears to choose Derry as the target and throws away the smelly Trish. Right then, the cops arrive at the scene, better late than never, and point their guns at the creeper. It then releases a wild scream, while revealing its demonic nature. Trish tries to convince the creeper to take her, rather than Derry. But the creeper just ignores her, possibly because she's too smelly and overweight, so it instantly flies away from the scene with a light Derry. Trish then frantically tries to chase the creeper, but to no avail. Morning comes, Trish is left alone in the headquarters, grieving for the loss of her beloved brother. Psychic Grandma approaches Trish and says she is just a crazy old woman, since her dreams about the creeper's target appear to be wrong. Soon after, the family of Trish arrives to pick her up, so she walks out of the headquarters, where she sees a crow flying. The crow flies until it reaches an abandoned factory, which turns out to be the creeper's new hideout. There, the creeper finally gets its virtual capacity back, after devouring Derry's eyes. In the end, the creeper preserves Derry's eyeless remains, making it part of its monument of victims. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.